Okay, we're going to look at a longer view of the creating and using groups in highlights. A longer video, sorry. And this video is straight from Hapara, and we will start it now.
There are so many advantages to grouping learners. From differentiating to peer-to-peer learning opportunities, grouping learners is a great teaching strategy. But how in the world do you group learners in a digital context? Welcome to How to Hapara, Groups and Highlights Edition. In this video, Heapy and I will teach you all about the Groups feature in Highlights. You will learn how to create and manage your groups in Highlights, how to filter and sort highlights by group, how to use Highlights tools like send message, guide browsing, and share links with groups, and strategies for using groups in the classroom. Now let's get started. Heapy loves groups because two horns are better than one. First, let's look at how to create a group in Highlights. It's quick and easy. To create a group, begin by clicking on Groups in the toolbar on the right-hand side of your screen. A drop-down menu will open. Click the New Group button. A box will slide out from the right-hand side of the screen. This is where you will name your group, color code, and add learners to it. Highlight the default name with your cursor and type in your preferred group name, for example, Pirate Group or Emergent Readers. Then, click on the default color next to the group name if you want to change the group color. A color palette will open with a variety of colors to choose from. Click the color that you want. Next, press the Add Plus button to add learners to your new group. A list of the learners in your class will open. Either tick the All Students box or tick the boxes next to the learners' names that you want to assign to this group. When you're done, click the blue Add Students button at the bottom of the list. Remember that groups and highlights are teacher-facing only, which means that learners won't be able to see the names of the groups they're in or the other learners in the group unless you share that information with them. To edit a group, click again on Groups in the toolbar on the right-hand side of your screen. The drop-down menu will open again. Click the Edit Groups button. A list of your current groups will appear on the right-hand side of the screen. To edit any of your groups, just click on the pencil icon next to the group name. The settings for that group will open and you can change the group name by highlighting it with your cursor and typing in the new name. Just like when you create a new group, you can change the group color of existing groups too by clicking on the color next to the group name. You can also remove learners from the group by clicking the X next to their name. And you can add learners by clicking the blue Add Plus button. Don't forget to hit the blue Add Students button when you're done. To delete a group, click on the Groups button again. Click Edit Groups. Then click the trash can icon next to the name of the group that you want to delete. A really cool feature in groups, Heapy thinks it's really cool anyway, is Group Preference. This allows you to keep your groups the same across Hapara Highlights, Dashboard, and Workspace, or make them specific to the page they are set in. This means you can set your groups to be the same across subject tabs if you choose the Shared Across Tabs option. Or if you group your class differently across Hapara, select Specific to each tab, which means you can set up different groups in Highlights, Workspace, and Dashboard depending on how you use each tool. For example, some teachers like to set up a frequently off task group in Highlights so they can send a quick message to those learners, but wouldn't need to use a group like that in Dashboard. To set your preference, click on Groups in the toolbar and then click on Edit Groups. When the box appears on the right-hand side of your screen, you'll see that your groups are set to Groups are shared across tabs as the default. This appears in a dark blue box above the list of groups. To edit this, click Change. Next, you'll see the two options, Shared Across Tabs and Specific to each tab. Choose your group preference and click the Save button at the bottom. Now let's look at how you can edit the groups that a single learner belongs to. You can do this easily by locating the specific learner's student tile. The groups that the learner belongs to are displayed by color in the bar at the top of their student tile. Click on the drop-down in the top right-hand corner of the student tile. Select Edit Groups from the drop-down menu. A list of groups will open on the right-hand side of your screen. The checked boxes in the list are the groups that the learner currently belongs to. If you want to remove a learner from one of these groups, uncheck the box. If you want to add a learner to a group, check the box next to it. Finally, click the Save button at the bottom of the list. Now that you've created groups and assigned learners to them, you'll have some options for how you want them to be displayed on your screen. One of these options is to filter the groups that you see on your screen. For example, if you just want to keep an eye on the chatty group during your highlight session, you could display only that group on your screen. To do this, click Groups in the toolbar, uncheck the All Groups box, and then check the Chatty box. Phoebe, we made a pun. Get it? Chatty box? Click anywhere on the screen to close the drop-down, and your screen will automatically display the student tiles of learners in the chatty group. To change your filtering selections, just go back to Groups again and untick checkboxes that you no longer want to appear on your screen. Another one of the options for how you can use groups to display certain tiles on your screen is the Sort option. The Sort option allows you to customize the order of the student tiles on your screen. To sort, click on Sort in the top right-hand side of the toolbar. A drop-down menu will open. You can sort by who was online first, who was offline first name from A to Z, last name from A to Z, first name from Z to A, or last name from Z to A. Click on the option that works best for your purposes and your student tiles will rearrange accordingly. You can also sort by clicking on the color bar at the top of a student tile. It will display that color group first. Now you can see that setting up groups, assigning learners to them, and sorting and filtering your view of groups is a snap, right, Phoebe? Let's look at how groups and highlights can help you in the classroom. First of all, when you have groups created and learners assigned to them, you'll be able to use other highlights features at the group level. Send message, guide browsing, and share links all have options to be utilized at the group level, making these features even more handy parts of your toolbox. For example, each of the pop-up forms for these features have a way to apply it to groups. To send a message to a group, just click Send Message, type your message in the form, select the group option, check the boxes of the groups you want your message to go to, and then click on Send Message. And bing! Just the groups that you selected will receive your message. This comes in handy, for instance, when you want to give targeted feedback to different groups. To launch a guide browsing session for a group, click Guide Browsing and set up either a focus session or a filter session. Fill in the form and be sure to select the Groups option right here. Then select the groups that you want to start the session for. This way, you can create guide browsing sessions for only specific groups of learners. To share links with a particular group, the process is similar. Click Share Links, fill in the form, select the group option along with the groups you want to share links with, click Share Links at the bottom of the form, and ta-da! You've shared links with specific groups. To learn more about the Send Message, Guide Browsing, and Share Links features, check out our videos and more on these topics in the Resources section of this course. The ability to group learners in highlights provides you with so much support when it comes to differentiated instruction, learning accommodations, and class projects or group work. Let's talk about differentiation first. Differentiation gets a lot of buzz in the education world, but let's face it, when you have a class full of 25 kids or more, it can be tough to pull off. That's why groups and highlights are so amazing. Let's look at an example of differentiation using groups and highlights. For example, suppose you want to differentiate content by reading level, so you create three groups and highlights: early emergent readers, and early fluent readers. Once you create your groups, you assign learners to the groups that correspond to their reading level. Then you could do things like start a guide browsing focus session with each group. Each group will be working on content that relates to their reading level during the guide browsing focus session. Let's say learners are working with the book We Are in a Book by Mo Willems. For this activity, you could set up your guide browsing focus session to send learners to the following exercises online. You end with a great lesson where each learner is working at their individual reading level, and all you had to do was click a few buttons. Now let's take a look at how groups and highlights can help with learning accommodations. Many learners require different types of accommodations, and it can be hard to keep track of them all. You can create groups based on accommodations to manage that. For example, you're giving a chapter quiz. A group of learners has an accommodation in their IEPs that requires instructions to be read orally. You could create an oral instructions group and assign those learners to it. Record the instructions using a free program like Audacity or create a voice memo on your phone. Use share links to share the link to the recording with learners in the oral instruction group. Learners will be able to listen to the instructions using their headphones, and the rest of the class won't be disturbed. Finally, group work can be made a whole lot easier with groups and highlights. For instance, let's say you're teaching your class about recycling basics: reduce, reuse, and recycle. Today they'll learn about how to pack a waste-free lunch using resources from the EPA. You've asked learners to choose a topic and create 3 project groups based on their choices. Groups will complete an activity and discuss it in a jigsaw where each group will teach what they learned to the other groups. You create groups based on the title of each activity. You use the Share Links feature and share an activity with each group. It only takes a couple of minutes to set up, and then everyone is off and learning. Hebe is so happy that you've learned more about using groups and highlights. He wants to be in one of your groups. Okay, maybe not Hebe. We'll make a special Sheepicorn group just for him. To review, we have learned how to create and manage your groups and highlights, how to filter and sort highlights by group, how to use highlights tools like send message, guide browsing, and share links with groups, and strategies for using groups in the classroom. To learn more about what you can do in the classroom with Hapara, check out the Hapara community and see the resource links provided. That's all for now. Thanks so much for watching.